this year, God blessed me and my wife to be able to travel a little bit this year. And so one of the problems with traveling with my beautiful wife is she don't know how to pack. And this may get me in trouble, but we use our lives as an open book to be able to help the kingdom. What happens is, all my life since I was very young, we've always had to pack because we would go on the road from the time school was out almost all summer. My parents were itinerant ministers, so they go to different places, and we pack. So I've learned how to pack. I can pack 7 weeks of clothes in a backpack. And boy, you think I had a different change outfit every day. I know how to pack, okay? My wife, she brings all the options with her and makes the decision in the room in the other city. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I might wear this, I might wear that. Well, I didn't know if it was gonna be cold or if it's gonna be hot, and woo! So not a pack. So what ends up happening is many times we get to the counter and they have a weight limit. So this baby has her blow dryer, her full bottles of shampoo and conditioner, boots, tennis shoes, sandals. I mean, everything you can think of in this one case. And we're going for a 2-day trip. I'm not lying. So when we get up there, they say, Mr. Todd, do you have any bags to check in? And I say, of course. And I put my bag up there, and they're like, okay. And then I put her bag up there. And if the weight limit many times is 50 pounds or 40 pounds, it'll say something like 57 pounds. And I just look at the woman, and I just be like, please have mercy on us. Because for those of you that don't fly a lot, if it goes over that weight limit, they will charge you up to $100 for heavy bags. And many times we've had favor. So let me not put it out there. The favor of God works on our life, and she'll look at me and she'll look at her and she'll be like, yeah, you need that. So, and so they'll let us go through. But there's been some times when we get up to that place and we have people who didn't pray that morning, and they look at me and they say, that'll be $50. And I look at my wife and I say, I know you're gonna wanna go to a Target when we get to this next city. So we're not gonna waste this $50 on what we taking. We gotta take some stuff out. And in the airport, we open up the case. Has anybody ever done this before? Okay, don't let me feel like I'm the only one. We open up the case and we start throwing everything we can into her purse, into my backpack. We decide what we have to leave. Like, you don't even need this. We'll buy another one. You don't even need this. We'll buy another one. You had that for too long. And we'll buy another one. And we do that until we get it to the weight, because it's not able to enter into another place carrying too much weight. It can't fly to the destination it's supposed to. It can, but I'll have to pay a heavy cost. Or I have to decide to remove some things. And as we come into 2016, God began to speak to me. He said, Michael, you've made it to an exit of 2016. Everybody has exited as of 12 o'clock midnight yesterday. We have exited 2016. But what happens is we have this interesting place that we're in right now. We're at a threshold where we get to make a decision if what came out of 2016 with us is going into 2017 with us. And God began to take me to a story in the Bible of the children of Israel. It may be familiar to many of you, but today it's an illustrated sermon. So I'm going to give you a couple of scriptures, but I'm going to paraphrase because it's like 3 chapters of the Bible, okay? So I've read all of Exodus, all of Numbers, Deuteronomy, and that was hard this entire time. But I want you to realize that I'm going to paraphrase so you can go back and research this. But I want to start you at one passage of scripture, Exodus 13, chapter 17. Exodus chapter 13, verse 17. And it's funny that they called this in my Bible. It says the Israel's wilderness detour. Israel's wilderness detour. Now, some of you that don't know this story, let me just give you just some context. There was a whole group of people called the children of Israel who were in slavery in Egypt. They were forced to be able to build all of the structures. They were paid barely no wages. They were in a bondage situation where they would continue to be for year after year after year. And then God raises up this man named Moses, and he says, you know what? I want you to go back and I want you to free my people from the bondage, okay? So these people are in a very, very repetitive, cyclic situation where they're doing the same thing that's producing no fruit. And then God sends them an exit. He sends them a deliverer, okay? And in this season, God does something specific, but I want you to see that he gave them a promise. He gave them a promise that I'm not just gonna take you out of your bad situation, I'm going to take you into a land that has more than anything you've ever seen before. It's a land flowing with milk and honey. It's a land, let me say it in an up-to-date way. It's a land with more than enough. It's a land with provision. It's a land larger than anything you've ever experienced. And I know you want to come straight out of bondage and go into the promise, but I have to take you on a wilderness detour. Okay? So I want everybody to see this right here. It said when Pharaoh finally let the people go, when they finally came out of bondage, when they finally got loose from that situation that had been holding them back, God did not lead them along the main road that runs through the Philistine territory, even though, somebody say even though. See, this is where most of us get hung up because we see the way that would be easiest, and God takes us on the way that's going to be most beneficial. Even though that was the shortest route to the promised land. I want you to see that there's a short route to the promised land, but God intentionally is taking us on a wilderness detour for a purpose. It says, God said, keep going, verse 18. If the people are faced with a battle, they might change their minds and return back to their bondage. So if I take them the short route and they're not prepared, they'll go back to the bondage I allowed them to be delivered from. So I have to take them to a wilderness to be able to build in them what's going to allow them not to just see the promised land, but be able to inhabit and live and prosper in the promised land. Does everybody, some of y'all are already connecting the dots right now. So I want to help you with this as we talk about this message exit. I'm going to give you some points and then I'm just going to explain it and bring it practically. Point number one, every exit is immediately followed by an exit opportunity. Every exit is immediately followed by an exit opportunity. I think about this because all of us exit rooms, exit cars, exit jobs, exit all kinds of things. And after we exit, we have a decision to make. We have opportunities that are presented to us. We have the opportunity to reset, to start, to continue what we were doing, to stop what we were doing. See, most people, especially when we talk about 2016 and 2017, we came to an exit. We exited one year, 2016, and we're entering into a new year. But after we have exited this year, we have an opportunity in this moment. And most people don't see the opportunity. They just see that every exit is a new entrance. So they walk through the door and they're like, oh, 2016 is over, I'm exiting that. And I automatically walk into 2017. I want you to get a different picture. That we just exited 2016, but right here in the middle, we have an exit opportunity. Everybody listen. We have an opportunity to do something differently than we did before we enter into 2017. See, the children of Israel, they had an exit opportunity. That's what the wilderness was for. Not just so that they could go a long way around the mountain. They had an opportunity to reset, to do something different, to let things go. Let me give you this analogy. If you're a husband or a wife, I know this has happened to you, maybe on the way to church. But you're in the car, y'all arguing about something. Well, I thought you said it was at 6. No, I told you, girl, it's at 4:30. And that's why my hair is not done. And this is, and matter of fact, you didn't eat my food last night. Well, it was kind of hard. Well, your mama makes it the same way. Like y'all are going through the same thing. And you're on your way to a birthday party with friends and family. And both of y'all get out the car. Well, fine then. Right now you've exited the car, but now you have an exit opportunity. That journey from the car door to the house door is an exit opportunity. Is the way you exited that situation gonna be the way you enter into your next situation? Oh, come on. Y'all know some of y'all. Right there, you argue all the way up to the door. Well, fine then, I bet you won't get no food tonight. Hey, how are you? I love what you did with the place, love what you did with the, like. Or some of us, when we go, we just stop at that moment, but we don't change anything. You know that argument's gonna start up as soon as you leave the door. As soon as all right, y'all, all right. Don't touch me. Don't open up the door. I saw who was that you was talking to? For some people, right there at the car, they get out and they say, babe, it's not worth it. It's not worth ruining this whole night. I'm sorry. I apologize. They took a moment to reset. Does everybody understand? Because the way that you exit, you have an opportunity to do something different before you enter. And for the children of Israel, this point number 2, how you exit a season is how you enter a season if you don't embrace the exit opportunity. Okay? What I'm here to tell everybody is in this season right now, you have to embrace this opportunity to exit. This thing that God has given us I really believe this first month of the year, if we would consecrate this month to saying, God, before I really enter all the way into 2017 with my plans, my goals, my dreams, my purpose, my all of this other stuff, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to refine what's not mine in this next season. And give you an opportunity to tell me what I need to get to go into this next season. Because if not, then we get the results of the children of Israel. I want you to see this equation. They're in slavery. God provides an exit from bondage. He wants to take them through a season of purity so that they can be able to possess a promise. I'm gonna do that one more time because some of y'all just got it. He made them be able to escape an impossible situation. Pharaoh behind them, an ocean in front of them. And God said, you know what, I'm not gonna let my children go out like that. I'm going to make a miracle exit. Some of y'all barely made it out of 2016. Your marriage was on the brink. Your health was on the brink. And God said, I ain't gonna let them go out like that. That's my child. I'm gonna make them get an exit. And we made it to this point. But God's saying, don't ignore the exit opportunity, because if you try to carry everything that you barely made it through this door with into this door, you'll never make it. I want everybody to see this. The children of Israel ignored their exit opportunity. They ignored it. And like many of us, we had fear of our future and our past and what God's gonna do in our life. And we're scared of what school we're gonna get accepted to because my parents don't have the money to be able to do this, and I'm fearful for my children because now they're hanging out with the wrong crowd and all this other stuff. And then we take pride, and I ain't gonna ask nobody for any help. And I sure ain't getting on to belong group so them people can be in my business. I'll get everything done by myself. And we carrying all of this stuff, and then lust. Don't nobody really got to know, but I'll just handle this by myself, and I'll deal with this situation and worry. And, I know God will provide, but I'm not sure if he really wants to for me. And then we go ahead and then put lukewarmness in there. That I trust God on Sunday, but I'm acting a fool on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, have an epiphany on Friday. Dibble dabble on Saturday, get my stuff right on Sunday, praise my way, put a praise on it, and then do the same thing again the next week. And God said, because of my grace, you carried all this through 2016. And I let you by my hand. Not because you deserved it, because of my grace. I let you barely make it. I let you carry all of this weight into this area. But if you think that I'm going to let you take it into the promised land, you're sadly mistaken. See, because the promised land is supposed to be better than what you're coming from. If I give you the milk and the honey, but you don't have any room to enjoy it, because your hands are tied with worry and lukewarmness and fear and all of this. And see, what ends up happening for all of us is we have a decision to make in this exit opportunity. This time that we can identify. See, some people are like, well, how long is the exit opportunity? What are we supposed to do? Let me help you with the story of the children of Israel. See, what happened was God took them the long journey, the long way to purify them. Write this point down. Exit opportunities can feel like the wilderness. Exit opportunities can feel like the wilderness. See, when I got out of 2016, now I'm standing here like, God, I'm here on the first day of the new year. It don't feel different. The worship was cool. The people, hey y'all, good to see you. Happy New Year. Job's gonna be the same tomorrow. Bills is piling up. Gotta kind of regroup after Christmas. And where are you? This doesn't feel like 2017. It doesn't feel. How many of y'all this holiday season just kind of didn't feel like the holiday season? Like it felt like woo, Happy New Year. I think like let me go to sleep. Because many times, I want you to hear me say this. Many times our exit opportunities feel like the wilderness. But what you have to realize is the wilderness wasn't a punishment. The wilderness was for purity. See, when God takes you to a place where he's trying to remove things from you, it's because he's trying to get the purest form of you. He doesn't want you to take all the extra into this next season. So what does that practically look like? If you made it through and you controlled this past year of your life, God's taking you through this exit opportunity so that you can give him control. See, I don't know what your situation is, but some of you made it through blaming everybody else this past year. It was my job. It was my situation. It was my parents. And God said, I let you make it through 2016, but this will keep you from going into the promised land. If you want to keep carrying blame, you will never enter into the promise. If you want to keep being isolated, you'll never make it into the promise. See, many of us, we blame people and then we get isolated because we never want to be hurt again. Can you really keep that from happening? Can you really protect yourself? Or do we say like the word, the Lord is my fortress? He's the one that I run into. The righteous will be saved. But see, God said, I let you, by my grace and my mercy, I let you. The children of Israel didn't deserve to escape. They didn't deserve to get to a place out of slavery, but God and his grace and his mercy allowed them to exit a season. And I feel like this is where we're at right now. We've exited a season, and now we're standing here with all this baggage. Let me talk to those who are people pleasing. God says, if you're not pleasing me, they can't do nothing for your future. And so as I sit here and I think about, okay, God, what do we do? Because people are standing in this place and they don't know what to do. He said, Michael, I only intended for the exit opportunity to be 11 days. 11 days. I just wanted the children of Israel to have a moment to think about what could not go into their promise. Now, for them, it was 11 days, but for you, it could be 11 minutes, 11 hours, 11 months, 11 seconds. But I believe today God's brought us all here to think about our own lives. What am I carrying right now that cannot go into the promised land? Is it your attitude? You're pessimistic about everything. Well, I got a new job interview. Have they called you back yet? It's been 3 days. You ain't gonna get that promotion. And see, they don't even like you. Is it assumption? What cannot go? Is it lust? Is it comparison? What cannot go? And God is so gracious that he gives us an opportunity to identify it before he points it out. Yay! I love my God because he is not trying to condemn you, but he's trying to give you a chance to say, you know what, I do need to work on my attitude. You know what, I do need to work on my support for my husband or my wife. You know what, I do really need to stop being immature. Can I put it in today's vernacular? Petty. Stop being petty. Because God said that pettiness is going to keep you from the promise in this next. I'm trying to give you an opportunity that you came out of this exit and you need to stop being petty. Can I be a pastor for a second? Stop going on Facebook asking questions. Your heart was to sow up division from the beginning. Oh, excuse me. Stop being immature. Stop being petty. Stop going, because it will cancel the promise of God over your life. This is the crazy thing about this entire story. Many of you know the end. The children of Israel who exited the one season never made it to the promise. Never. Somebody say never made it. No, never would have made it. That's Marvin Sapp. They never made it. Okay? They never ever made it. And it wasn't because God changed his promise. See, most people think that, why didn't God do this? Why didn't God stick to his promise? God told me I'd be married this year. God told me I had that job or that house or that this or that. And God's saying it's still sitting here. But you're carrying everything that you carried into this season and you want to take it into the next season. I just can't have it. Because you'll think that that's able to be with you when God wants to raise you up to get the glory out of your life. Amen. And so the children of Israel are sitting here with the quandary. They're like, well, we complained when we were in bondage. We were rebellious against leadership in bondage. We were frustrated in bondage. We were fearful and worried when we were in bondage. And then God did a miracle. And we get into this place of the wilderness. And now we're still frustrated at leadership. We're still fearful of our future. So we start worshiping golden calves and doing different things to provide for ourselves. Wow. This is crazy. We were complaining back there, and guess what? We're still complaining right here. 2017 is my year, but I'm doing the same exact thing that I did last year, and I'm expecting God to bless me in a different way. The definition of that is insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I came to be very apostolic this morning and talk to your future. That God will not move you into the next season without you. We keep trying to do this. God, supersede me. Take over my emotions. God, take over my will. Lord, if you don't want me to have sex with a God, stop me. And God said, the greatest thing I gave you was choice. He said, you got to choose me, and you're going to have to choose to participate in this miracle I'm about to do. And we're acting, well, God, if you don't want me to do it, stop me. And God's saying, if you don't want to do it, ask me to help you stop doing it. That's a different sentence. That's a different way of thinking. That's a different perspective. And that's what God is trying to change. He's trying to change our perspective as we go into this next season. Can I say this for everybody who is declaring that 2017 is going to be their year? And who said it every year before this, and they kind of still get the same results, and they be like, forget the past, and now God's going to do something new. I want to help you. A declaration without a decision is dumb. A declaration, I'm going to get married, without a decision to date is dumb. A declaration, I'm going to get something to eat, without a decision to get in the car or to pick up the phone and order is dumb. What many believers are doing are declaring things that they're not going to make a decision about. And then they sit around and they say, God, why didn't you do anything? He said, because the greatest thing that I gave you was your choice, and I want you to make a decision. And so what I'm saying is now this big one of unforgiveness that we barely were able to make it through. Now we're going to have to, somebody shout at me, decide. We're going to have to decide to forgive because God will not supersede our decision. So he's giving you a wilderness opportunity, an exit opportunity to decide what are you going to do with those people who hurt you. Are you going to carry them to the door among all the other luggage and stuff that you have and say, God, please let me into my promise, but can I please bring this crap? Can I please still, my father, he left us and he was not there and he was a horrible role model. So God, you can let me into the promise with this. I'll let go of worry, but I just won't forgive. And God said, I've given you an eternal example of the children of Israel. What happens to people who will not let things go in the exit opportunity? Guys, I'm not trying to bring you no new revelation. I'm really trying to just remind you that there are some things that God was trying to get you to let go of this whole year. The whole year. He tried to get you to let them friends go all year. They actually did worse things to you this year than they talked about you, lied on you, did all this other. And he kept saying, let them go. Kept saying, let them go. He tried to get you to step out in that business all year. He tried to let you get rid of fear. He said, start the business, start the business, start the business. And we dragged fear of failure into this point right here. Yeah, I'm trying to let you see that there is a promise that God wants to fulfill in our life that is bigger and more intentional than anything that we've ever produced up until this point, but he will not allow us and all our baggage to go. So what God says is this next move is up to you. That's what I came to tell you this morning. This next move is up to you. Look at your neighbor and say, it's up to you. Find one more neighbor and say, it's up to you. See, when I talk about this, because I want to help people understand this. When I said a declaration without a decision is dumb, in Exodus 15, When God delivered them, they went into an entire chapter of praising God for doing a miracle in their life and declaring what they would be doing. I'm just going to read, it's an entire chapter. I'm going to read the first 2 verses. It said, then Moses and the people of Israel sang the song to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, for he has triumphed glorious. He has hurled both the horse and the rider into the sea. What does that mean? I have no idea. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has given me victory. This is my God, and I will praise him. My Father, my God, and I will exalt you. And there's about 8 more verses like that. They sang this song. They begin to make a declaration how they'd never leave God, how they would be everything that he wanted to be, that they would trust him in every season. And all of a sudden, 2 chapters later, these people are complaining and say, you know what? This don't look like the promised land that he said. And matter of fact, we just eating this oatmeal out here called manna, and it's nasty. And I mean, we got to listen to Moses who's stuttering, and we got to listen to Aaron. I mean, and he just a flunky. And then we out here, we ain't got no real shelter. And then these Negroes want us to pray every day and go to the tabernacle of meeting. And we got to wait down here while he on the mountain. And while he on the mountain, why can't we go to the mountain? And then they want to come down here. And they started complaining. And they started being frustrated. And then they started talking amongst themselves and say, you know what? We'd be better off back in our bondage. Let's leave this season of purification and go make a problem. Let's leave this moment where God's trying to get our attitude right. I know it's uncomfortable, but he's trying to get your attitude right. Let's leave this moment where he's trying to teach us stewardship over our finances so we can't buy everything that we hear. I know it's uncomfortable, but let's go create a problem. And they began to go create. They wanted to go back and drag their stuff back through the same place that God delivered them from so that they could be comfortable. Your growth and comfortability have to be divorced now. Growth is not comfortable. Ask any woman who's given birth to a baby. She don't get to 9 months and be like, oh, shoot. This feels great. You are evicted. It is time for you to go. This hurts. Why? Because that baby went from something that was insignificant to something that was going to produce life. But the growth hurt. And if we want to be comfortable but see growth, you are sadly mistaken. The wilderness sometimes hurts. Having to be accountable to people who stutter, to people who may not have the qualifications that we expect. Having to submit our will to what God is doing may be uncomfortable. But God said, I promise you it's better than the bondage. And I promise you, if you let this exit opportunity work for you, it's going to produce the promise. I don't know who I'm talking to today, who may be holding this big one right here, comparison. And you won't let it go. And you saying, no, their family this and this God, you know what I'm saying? This is my protection mechanism, you know what I'm saying? I just, you know what I'm saying? I'm not comparing myself. I'm just looking how they doing. And I mean, my next thought may be how I'm doing, but it's not comparison, God. It's just me trying to just, and we hold comparison. Our job, our finances, our children. And God's saying, don't allow any of these things to keep you in the season that I meant to be 11 days. Don't let it be the place you die. The sad narrative about the children of Israel is that the entire generation of people who exited died in the wilderness. All of them died with a picture of the promised land, but never a taste of it. I mean, what would that be to know that God keeps saying, I'm giving you this land. I swore it to your forefathers. I promised you you would be out of debt. I promised you would lay hands on the sick and they would recover. I promised you that your family would not be in divorce and would be an example family. I promise you. And he over and over 10 times, he tells the children, I'm promising you something. And they could not let go of what they used to carry to accept what God wanted to give them. Please don't let that be the case for us in 2017. That we did. I mean, let's be honest. Some of us dealt in fear this year. Like, come on, let's be honest. Some of us dealt with pride all year. Just pride. Come on. Some of us, immaturity all year. Come on, let's be honest. Some of us dealt with lust. Now, if any of these things are you dealing with them, I just want you to see this. Some of us, we dealt with inconsistency. How many people were inconsistent this year in some areas of your life? Like you started working out Monday and Tuesday and every Wednesday. Okay? Inconsistency. Some of us just kept going and we dealt with depression and we dealt with excuses. Well, God, you didn't call me. And God's grace let us make it. And now he's saying to me and saying to you, because this has hit me first. He said, I brought Pastor Mike to give you this message on the first day of the year so that you wouldn't lose any time in getting to the promise I have for you in this year. Hallelujah. James chapter 1:22 says it like this, but don't just listen to God's word. You must do what it says. Don't just listen to what I'm saying. Don't just have made it and then like, I'm in an exit opportunity. Yeah, God, whatever you want to do with me. I'm going to hit the promised land. I bet there were people in the children of Israel who woke up every day that said, this is the day that the Lord has made. The promised land is mine. And they died there because they heard the promise, but they never did what God was saying. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? So what do you want us to do with this, Pastor Mike? Well, very simple. If we were in bondage to some things, God's grace and mercy brought us through them. 2017, boy, there's promises that God has for us there. And we have this exit opportunity. What are we supposed to do right here? Very simple. X it. X it, whatever it is that you've been carrying in this season, it's time to get rid of it. It's time to X it. Not just exit into a new season, not just that I come and I bring it. It's on this journey, I'm going to drop it. And I'm not going to carry this into what God has for me. Somebody say X it. What is it for you today? What is the it that keeps coming in your heart? What is that it that God is saying, this is not going to go? It can't go. It won't make it. I see the angel of the Lord standing at the door and we're sitting here like, yeah, we ready for the promise. Yeah, y'all, see y'all on the promised land. And then we get there and it's like, uh-oh, access denied. We're to the place where we can see, but every time we, hold on, I know they're not trying to deny me off in the promise that God has given me. I know they didn't. Because God says there's new requirements at this time. Then I need surrendered hands, not tied up hands. You can't let go and let God when you're still holding on to what's not supposed to go into this season. And many of us are getting into a place where we're putting our feet and we're tasting and seeing. They sent Joshua and Caleb to spy out the land. And they said, it is a good land for us. It's ready for us to occupy. And God said, yeah, I'm ready for you to occupy it, but you're not ready to occupy it. Not because It's not available. Not because I don't want to give it to you, but it's because you won't X it. What relationship? What attitude? What fear? What pain? What hurt? I'm standing here because this may be the picture of your entire year. Where you're looking at people flourishing and you're able to even talk to them. Hey, y'all. Hey, you look good over there in purpose. Woo, look at you. I'm coming, but I just won't get rid of isolation. I'm coming, but I won't let my lukewarm attitudes leave me. So I'll sing hallelujah all day today. And then tomorrow and the rest of the week, I'm singing Fetty Wap or Young Yip Yip or Young Lippy Lop or whatever their name is. And I'm Millie rocking and I'm doing all of this. And it's the new year or it's my birthday, so I'm going to turn up. But God will forgive me. And he's saying that's immaturity. He said, I got so much for you, but you want to turn up. Okay, so I'm going to turn down my promises. Go ahead, turn up. But you stay in this place. And God's saying, if you would exit, if you would say, God, today, I came into 2016 with this stuff, but you've given me an exit opportunity. You saw fit not to take me the shortest route. You saw fit not to just take me on the highway to the promised land, because you know if I got in there, I wouldn't be able to sustain it. But you took me the roundabout way, and you brought me to Transformation Church this morning so that I could hear somebody say, hey, you got an opportunity to drop off the stuff that can't go into the promised land. You have an opportunity to allow God to move you from what you've been carrying and be able to, somebody say, exit. See, some of y'all got scared by the sound, but sometimes it's going to be scary when you drop stuff. It ain't going to fall perfectly. Stuff falls off. Friends may fall off. Things may fall off. You might have to lose a little bit. Something in there may break. But God says, what I have for you in the promised land is much better than anything you've ever carried. So it's time for us to exit. Not just walk out of 2016, but leave stuff. Look what the word tells us in Hebrews 12:1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to this life of faith, what they're saying is there's a lot of people who've done it before you. You're not going to be the first one who lets go of some things to pertain the promise of God. You're not going to be the only one who has to say, well, all my friends is doing this and all my people is doing this. And this is what I thought God wanted for me, but now he's changing the plan. He wants me to serve in ministry. He wants me to go to Bible college. He wants me to be able to do this. He wants me to be able to do that. Man, he said, you're not the only one I've asked to give up what they thought was their dream to pursue what I've called them to. And he said, so let us strip off. Y'all read it with me. Let us strip off every, what is that word? That slows us down. What is it? We're not even talking about sin yet, because it addresses sin in the next phrase. But it says there are some things, because some people wouldn't think excuses are a sin. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm just being a realist. I'm just being real. I'm keeping it real. We don't got the money. So, unless God, then we can't. And God said, I've never been short on resources. All I look for is faith to cash in, but you're making an excuse. So what God is saying is it don't even have to be a sin. Well, I done gave up pornography. Well, I done gave up lying. I done gave up, but you picked up excuses. So the reason why you can't be a belong group facilitator, or the reason why you haven't started serving on that team, or the reason why you didn't go and minister to that person in Walmart, it's not because God didn't equip you, it's because you've been using excuses. Well, I went to jail. It's hard for me to find a job. It may be hard, but the creator of the universe is the divine orchestrator of everything. He's looking for you to have the faith to believe, but you keep making an excuse. So it's been a year and you haven't had a job. And now government assistance is where you think you're going to live your life. Is that the abundant life God promised us? Is that the promised land? But you're gonna have to divorce excuses to be able to see what God has for you. I know I'm in your house and I know I'm talking very stern to you, but I do not want you to miss the promised land based on something that's not a sin, but is a weight. Well, I never saw a real marriage work. I never seen what love is. So, I don't even know if it exists. Excuses. Read the Bible. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. It tells you what I ain't never seen love though. Well, maybe you're the first one with God's help that can be able to display it. But if you don't allow that to be thrown out of your life, you'll never enter into the promised land. I'm going to say this statement and it's strong, but I want it to stay with you. Grace got you out, but obedience is going to let you in. No, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say that again. 2016, we made it out of 2016 by God's grace. Our marriage, the grace of God. Our finances, if you look at your bank account, that was come on, y'all. Your attitude, it was the grace of God. Somebody didn't punch you this year. It's the grace of God. But grace allowed us to exit. But the obedience to take the things, the fear, the comparison, the mess, the loneliness, and say, I'm not carrying this in, the worry, the lukewarmness. I'm not going to be a lukewarm Christian. The blame, I'm going to take all of that and I'm going to be obedient to exit. And when you get here, there's nothing holding you back from walking in to the promise. Everything that God has for you, you're able to receive. You don't gotta worry about juggling your past and your present. God says, the scripture that Destiny read earlier, it said, but forget all of that. What I'm about to do is not even worth being compared to what I'm about to do. And when you walk into this season, then you can receive. Pastor Tommy, come pass me your hat. That was no effort for me to receive something new because I wasn't holding on to anything. Tony, can you pass me the woman of God's tambourine? I'll give it back, I promise. Pass me your notebook, Tony. Now I can hold what God wants me to hold. And though I'm still holding something, when God gives it to me, the word tells us like this: his burden is easy. And his yoke is what? Light. It's easy. Now I can fulfill purpose. Can walk with it. I can look at it long enough to decide what I want to do with it. I can put it on. I can stand with it. I can be in purpose. I couldn't do none of that with the weight. I couldn't be free with the weight. I couldn't love right with the weight. But when I release the things, that were in my head, and I receive the things that are in God's hands, I'm able to manage. This is a big word for all of us. 2016 was a year of managing more than you could handle. For many people, that's why we barely made it. That's why when you look at things, stuff is still undone. That's why the business didn't multiply the way you thought it would and all that other stuff. But God's saying is, all right, lay aside every weight that would slow you down. I bet on that 12th day that they were in this opportunity to exit, the exit opportunity, if they would have known God only intended for it to be 11 days, somebody would be like, hey, y'all, we got to get this together. Now, this is dumb, okay? We've been eating the manna. He said there's grapes the size of your head in this promised land. Milk and honey on tap, okay? And y'all want to sit here and eat this manna and these quails? No. We got to get it together. Throw all the complaining out the door. Let's listen to our spiritual leadership. I know Moses stutters, but we gonna just watch him and he go up to the mountain. Y'all just sit here. Let's just sit here. Let's pray for the brother. Let's hold him up, okay? Aaron and her down here. You understand what I'm saying? We just gonna do what needs to happen so we can get out of this season. But nobody still had the revelation at 11 years. It was supposed to be 11 days, but they were there for 40 years. So what I'm saying to you is not God's promises. That's not the problem. It's what we're willing to X out of our life to see the promise.